Members, the time for this debate has expired. Call on private and local order of the day number 1.
Royal Society of New Zealand Amendment Bill, committee stage.
I declare the House in committee for further consideration of the Royal Society of New Zealand Amendment Bill.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Chairman.
The House and Committee for further consideration on the Royal Society of New Zealand Amendment Bill. Members, when we last considered the bill, debate on Clause 14 was in progress. Grant Robertson has the call, and he has just over 4 minutes remaining.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Robertson.
Mr. Chair, Clause 14, to remind those who've been focusing on this bill in some detail over recent weeks. Clause 14 deals with the election of councillors to the Royal Society, and Clause 14 is in fact an amendment to Section 22 of the Royal Society Bill. And Clause 14 is Section 22, of the Royal Society Act. And Section 22 of the Royal Society Act deals with the election of councillors. And in particular, it deals with the electoral college system that makes up part of the Council of the Royal Society. So, to clarify for members, the Royal Society of New Zealand's Council should be constituted according to the rules of the Society by a President and 6 elected Vice Presidents covering a range of areas of interest for the Council, and then up to 3 co-opted members. And the Royal Society councillors who are covering those particular areas are elected via an electoral college system. And so that's what I am able to enlighten members that the electoral colleges are also the establishment of them is done under the rules of the Royal Society, and as they say, they are discipline-based electoral colleges. A Vice President for Biological and Life Sciences, a Vice President for Physical Sciences, Mathematics, Engineering and Technology, and a Vice President Social Sciences. Each of the discipline-based electoral colleges will be managed according to the rules by the Council to consist of a grouping of members with similar interests. So this is to ensure that the Royal Society Council has a wide spread of membership that covers the basis of what the Royal Society stands for. Now, the electoral colleges themselves are able to review how they operate from time to time, but they are governed by the rules, and these are the rules that have been amended in Clause 14. And in particular, the rule that has been amended within Clause 14 is around the length of time that a councillor can hold office. And our colleagues will recall in earlier stages of this debate that while largely this bill is about the incorporation of the humanities into the Royal Society, when the Royal Society came to me and then to the House, they also said there were a number of minor technical changes. It was some time ago, that's true, but they are very pleased, I'm sure, with the progress that we're making on this. And they came and said there were some other technical matters beyond the issue of No, I can assure you I don't, Mr. Ockenvold. I can assure you they just come straight out. That's what they come straight out. And I think we have seen evidence of that. That's true. And so the elected councillors from these electoral colleges are an example of the technical changes that the Royal Society wanted. And this is a change that would remove the notion that no person may hold office as an elected councillor for more than 4 consecutive years, and replace that with the statement no person may hold office as an elected councillor for more than 6 consecutive years. And I think that members of the Royal Society Council have found that while a 4-year term was useful, that actually for the long-term governance interests of the Royal Society, a 6-year term is their preference. And so that is what our Clause 14 does in amending Section 22, is to change that notion that elected councillors can serve can serve for no more than 6 consecutive years. The council. Sorry, what was that? How many councillors? We can return to that. I did say that before, Mr. Chowdhury, but Mr. Chair, to respond to Mr. Chowdhury's question. Thank you very much. We have the discipline-based electoral colleges being the 3 vice presidents who are the elected vice presidents of the council. At the moment, I can tell members of the House that the current elected vice presidents are Dr. Stephen Goldson, representing the biological and life sciences areas, and Professor Richard Laheron, who's Vice President Social Sciences and Humanities. And this is a very important point to note, is that we're already, the Royal Society, as the part of the process of adopting the humanities has, as part of the Social Sciences Electoral College, a Vice President for Social Sciences and Humanities. So this is another example of how the Royal Society is happily getting along with its business as Parliament goes through and debates these important changes. So they are and the other elected Vice President is Professor Jeff Austin, who's the Vice President Physical Sciences, Mathematics, Engineering and Technology. So they are the 3 elected Vice Presidents of the Council. Other members may be interested to know that the Council is currently chaired by Dr. Garth Carnaby, somebody who people in the House I'm sure have had a lot of contact with and a very respected person. There is also Professor Michael Corbelis. And then there are representatives of the regional constituent organisations. And these organisations have been discussed before in this debate. The regional constituent organisations are an important part of the Royal Society. And in fact, as we know, one of those, the Wellington organisation, in fact submitted against some of the changes in this bill, and so they do play an important role in the way that the Council operates, and it is obviously the Council, Mr. Chair, that has been amended, the composition of the Council that's been amended in this particular clause. So it is useful to know that those elected Vice Presidents are there. There are also, in addition to those elected Vice Presidents, 3 elected councillors who are on there as well. And so those 3 elected councillors currently are some eminent people, Professor Carolyn Saunders and Emeritus Professor Ken Strongman, and as I mentioned before, Professor Michael Corbelis. So they are the 3 elected at-large councillors along with the Electoral College councillors. And so those are the positions that are now able to be held under this change that we're proposing for a term of no more than 6 consecutive years rather than 4 consecutive years. I have to say that this is not a clause that was the subject of a lot of submission within the process, but it is an important change because the council. There were a number of. On this clause, I'm not aware of any, Mr. Okenvold. I wasn't on the committee, so no, but I am reliably informed that there were no submissions on this clause within the bill. However, there were submissions on this bill, as Mr. Okenvold will know, and I thank him for interjecting and allowing me to talk a little about the submissions that came into the committee. And it's true that on these technical matters, the fact that they didn't get a lot of analysis in the Select Committee is, in fact, I believe, an invitation for this House to study them in some more depth. Well, no, I'm not criticising the committee because the committee has a lot to deal with in other clauses of this bill, but this is one that didn't perhaps get as much attention. So I think it is worthy of debate that a governance body such as the Council of the Royal Society would want to change from a 4-year term to effectively a 6-year term. And that will reduce, obviously, the turnover in elected councillors, but the balancing consideration is that it will, of course, improve the continuity of work of the Royal Society Council. And obviously it's the body, as we've noted before, that is involved in the governance. The Executive Committee, which is formerly known as the Academy Council, deals with more of the direct scientific-based work, the decisions about who gets prizes and so on like that. But the Council does have that important governance role, and so by this change, under Clause 14, we will be enabling people to stay on the Council as elected members for up to 6 years. I do regard that as a change that's positive. On balance, I'm sure there may be members of the House who don't. and there may be members of the House who feel that it shouldn't go that way, and I'd be happy to entertain the views of those members. But on balance, I believe that the work of the Royal Society Council is such that it is it's an important governing body, and having people able to serve for up for 6 years will allow them to represent the concerns of members. And I do just want to end this contribution, Mr Chair, by making note of the fact that one of the Electoral College representatives, the Social Sciences Electoral College, now includes the humanities, shows the Royal Society is getting on and doing its work of incorporating the humanities into the highest level of its organisation.
Mr Chair.
The Honourable Heather Roy.